Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes HSBC CEO Noel Quinn braces for tough times after a strong 2023. China State Bank's earmark over $8 billion for property projects. BYD announces new stock buyback and plans more luxury models. Year of the Dragon, China faces critical moment in push to revive economy. Hong Kong team develops AI-equipped trolley to ease strain on workers. HSBC CEO Noel Quinn braces for tough times after a strong 2023. Bloomberg. HSBC is expected to report strong earnings for 2023 this week, but CEO Noel Quinn has warned his lieutenants of tougher times ahead. The bank is bracing for headwinds in 2024 as the peaking of the interest rate cycle implies an end to rates-driven earnings growth, while troubles in its key markets of China and Hong Kong point to serious challenges. HSBC is expected to unveil roughly $2 billion in share buybacks and provide an update on the sale of its Canadian business. Analysts will also be focusing on the bank's exposure to commercial real estate in China. China State Bank's earmark over $8 billion for property projects. Bloomberg. China's state-owned banks have set aside 60 billion Chinese yuan, $8 billion, of loans for property projects that are eligible for support from the government. The move follows the Chinese government urging local authorities to support the financing needs of developers and draft lists of eligible projects. Policymakers ordered banks to increase lending to the property sector after credit growth in the sector slowed to the weakest in over a year. The country is struggling to arrest a slowdown in the property market, with new home sales tumbling 34.2% YoY in January. BYD announces new stock buyback and plans more luxury models. Bloomberg. Chinese automaker BYD company plans to repurchase more shares as it looks to revive a slump in its stock price. The company also aims to increase production of luxury models this year to expand beyond budget-friendly cars. The stock market performance of BYD and the wider industry has suffered due to concerns over a potential price war and China's economic performance. BYD's shares were down 11.4% for the year ahead of Monday's opening. The company's preliminary net income for 2023 is expected to be between 29 billion Chinese yuan, $4 billion, and 31 billion Chinese yuan, falling short of analysts' estimates. Year of the Dragon, China faces critical moment in push to revive economy. Al Jazeera. China is facing economic headwinds, with a crisis-stricken property market, subdued export earnings, and crackdowns on private industry. International investors are pulling out of Chinese stocks at record rates. To stimulate greater domestic consumption, Beijing needs to roll out measures, but expectations are subdued due to China's historical aversion to large-scale social spending. Falling prices risk turning into a self-reinforcing cycle if households and businesses postpone purchases in the hope of further price declines. Deflation squeezes debtors as the real cost of borrowed money rises, posing a headache as China's debt-to-GDP ratio reached 110% in 2022. Measures have been implemented, such as lowering mortgage rates and allowing banks to hold smaller cash reserves to spur increased lending. However, China's deflationary woes can be traced back to its beleaguered real estate sector, which accounts for 20 to 30% of GDP. Years of overinvestment and spare capacity have also resulted in limitations to China's capital-intensive infrastructure model. Policymakers should remove incentives to hoard savings by spending more on education, healthcare, and pension provisions. Analysts expect the National People's Congress to again set an annual growth target of about 5% in March. Hong Kong team develops AI-equipped trolley to ease strain on workers. South China Morning Post. Researchers in Hong Kong have developed a motorized trolley equipped with artificial intelligence, AI, to help workers transport heavy items and reduce the risk of work-related injuries. The trolley uses sensors to measure the pressure of the user's grip on the handlebar and an AI controller to calculate the required torque. Two electric motors in the wheel generate force to overcome the weight of the trolley, allowing users to steer a fully loaded vehicle with ease. The prototype is currently being tested by a cleaning company. The project received 6.45 million Hong Kong dollars, $825,066, from the Innovation and Technology Fund and won a gold medal at the 48th International Exhibition of Inventions in Geneva last year. China stocks struggle to rally at reopen despite upbeat data. Bloomberg. Chinese stocks experienced modest gains as onshore traders returned from the Lunar New Year holidays. The benchmark CSI 300 index initially opened 0.8% higher but soon trimmed most of its advance. The cautious sentiment towards the market offset the positive travel and spending data. The onshore market's longer-term prospects remain uncertain as China's economy continues to struggle with deflation and a property crisis, and doubts persist over the effectiveness of recent measures to revive investor confidence. Chinese tourists to Hong Kong over New Year holiday top 2018. Bloomberg. Chinese tourists traveled to Hong Kong, Macau, and overseas in large numbers during the recent Lunar New Year holiday, indicating a rebound in consumption in China. Over 1.2 million Chinese travelers visited Hong Kong during the festival, surpassing the number from the previous year. Macau also reported a record 1.4 million tourists for the holiday. This is a positive sign for casinos in Macau, which is the world's biggest gambling hub. In addition, overseas tourism appeared to be picking up, with Shanghai's airports handling significantly more inbound and outbound passengers compared to last year. Chinese tourists also spent more on food and beverages during their overseas trips. The top destinations for Chinese travelers were Hong Kong, Japan, Thailand, France, and Australia. Hong Kong's expertise can fill emerging markets' climate funding gap, IFC head. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's expertise in green financing can help emerging markets in the Asia-Pacific region address the enormous funding gap for tackling climate change, according to the International Finance Corp, IFC. The region accounts for 39% of global greenhouse gas emissions, with countries in the region among the most vulnerable to climate change. The IFC is calling for greater investment in climate mitigation and adaptation, while advising governments on establishing predictable policies and frameworks to attract private financing. The IFC committed $11 billion in the Asia-Pacific region in the year to June 2021, with 39% committed to climate change and marine plastic waste projects. Hong Kong cycling head De Gorn eyes top job, says Lee is city's best games hope. South China Morning Post. Hervé de Gorn, the head coach of the French track team and acting head coach of the Hong Kong track team, hopes to secure a full-time position with the Hong Kong team. De Gorn oversaw medal success at the London 2012 Olympics and wants to bring some of that magic to Hong Kong. He believes the city has amazing resources and wants to help Hong Kong athletes progress and win medals. De Gorn has gradually implemented a philosophy that puts the riders at the center of the project and encourages them to provide feedback. The ultimate goal is to qualify for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Leading Hong Kong think tank unveils broad plan to sharpen city's tourism edge. South China Morning Post. Think tank Our Hong Kong Foundation has urged Hong Kong to relax its visa arrangements and introduce new tourism initiatives to attract mainland Chinese visitors and boost the city's tourism industry. The suggestions include lowering fees and charges on airlines to reduce fares, creating a central app for visitors, and offering Hotel Plus events promotional tickets. The foundation also called on Beijing to extend visit permits to other cities in the Greater Bay Area, and relax the terms of the visa-free transit scheme to enable more international travelers to visit the province via Hong Kong. GBA at 5, HSBC, BEA among Hong Kong lenders eyeing Qianhai opportunities. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's major banks are looking to expand their operations in the Qianhai Special Economic Zone as it seeks to develop a financial system on par with international standards by 2035. The Qianhai Special Economic Zone, created in 2009 next to Shenzhen, offers incentives such as a 15% corporate tax, lower than China's 25% rate. Hong Kong firms have invested $4.9 billion in the area, accounting for 95% of the foreign investment, according to government data. Why chubby hearts around Hong Kong are reason to smile. SCMP opinion. An installation of giant heart-shaped balloons in Hong Kong has been praised for bringing joy to the city at a time of political tension and economic uncertainty. The Chubby Hearts installation, conceived by British fashion designer Anya Hindmarch and curated by Hong Kong Design Centre, aims to evoke childlike wonder and remind people to appreciate the good in their lives. The balloons have previously been displayed in London and will remain in Hong Kong until February 22. Stay or go? Hong Kong boss Anderson weighs offers, questions FA's support. South China Morning Post. Jorn Anderson, the head coach of the Hong Kong national football team, is considering his future after receiving interesting offers from elsewhere. Anderson led Hong Kong to Asian Cup qualification for the first time since 1968 and has transformed the team into a competitive unit. However, he is frustrated with the lack of professional support and an inadequate domestic structure. Anderson's current contract expires in June 2024, but he has not been approached about an extension. He is now more open to exploring different opportunities if presented with an attractive proposal. Philippines e-commerce growth to boost Manila logistics property rents in 2024. South China Morning Post. Rising demand for logistics space due to increased online shopping in the Philippines is set to boost Manila's logistics property rents further this year, according to Knight Frank. Industrial property rents are expected to rise by 3% to 5% this year. The growth in online retail sales is supported by the nation's 5.6% economic expansion last year, making it Southeast Asia's fastest-growing economy. The rental growth of logistics property in Manila helped lift the entire segment in Asia-Pacific, according to Knight Frank. However, rental growth for industrial space could not be replicated in mainland China. China to rally on reopen, other stocks seem mixed, markets wrap. Bloomberg. Asian shares are expected to have a mixed start to the week, following a slump on Wall Street on Friday. Chinese stocks are set to open strongly after the country's week-long New Year holiday. Stocks in Australia and Hong Kong are also expected to open higher, while contracts in Japan are predicted to fall. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Six, your resident observer from the sixth dimension, here to bring you the latest news from around the world. Today, we have a mix of stories from China and Hong Kong, covering various topics such as finance, technology, tourism, and sports. Let's dive right in. First up, we have HSBC CEO Noel Quinn bracing for tough times after a strong 2023. Despite the bank's expected strong earnings, Quinn has warned of challenges ahead, including the peaking of the interest rate cycle and troubles in its key markets of China and Hong Kong. It will be interesting to see how HSBC navigates these headwinds and what impact they will have on the banking industry. Next, China's state banks are earmarking over $8 billion for property projects. With the country's property market facing a slowdown, policymakers are urging banks to increase lending to the sector. This move is aimed at supporting developers and stimulating greater domestic consumption. It remains to be seen whether these measures will be effective in reviving the property market and boosting the overall economy. In the automotive industry, Chinese automaker BYD company plans to repurchase more shares and increase production of luxury models. The company is looking to revive its stock price and expand beyond budget-friendly cars. However, its preliminary net income for 2023 is expected to fall short of analysts' estimates. It will be interesting to see how BYD's stock performs and whether its new strategy pays off. Moving on to the broader economic landscape, China is facing a critical moment in its push to revive the economy. The country is dealing with a crisis-stricken property market, subdued export earnings, and crackdowns on private industry. To stimulate greater domestic consumption, Beijing needs to roll out measures, but expectations are subdued due to China's historical aversion to large-scale social spending. It will be crucial to see how China tackles these challenges and whether it can maintain economic stability. In the realm of technology, researchers in Hong Kong have developed an AI-equipped trolley to ease the strain on workers. This motorized trolley uses sensors and artificial intelligence to help workers transport heavy items and reduce the risk of work-related injuries. It's great to see technology being used to improve workplace safety and efficiency. In the world of finance, Hong Kong's expertise in green financing can help address the funding gap for tackling climate change in emerging markets. The International Finance Corp is calling for greater investment in climate mitigation and adaptation, while advising governments on establishing predictable policies and frameworks. This highlights the importance of collaboration and innovation in addressing global challenges. In sports news, the head coach of the French track team, Hervé Degorn, hopes to secure a full-time position with the Hong Kong track team. Degorn wants to bring his expertise and help Hong Kong athletes progress and win medals. It's always exciting to see how sports can bring people together and inspire excellence. Lastly, an installation of giant heart-shaped balloons in Hong Kong is bringing joy to the city at a time of political tension and economic uncertainty. The Chubby Hearts installation aims to evoke childlike wonder and remind people to appreciate the good in their lives. It's a beautiful reminder that amidst challenges, there is still room for joy and positivity. That's it for today's news roundup. I hope you enjoyed the stories and found them informative. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of HSBC's tough times ahead? Are you optimistic about China's efforts to revive its economy? And how about that AI-equipped trolley? Do you think we'll see more innovative solutions like that in the future? Let's discuss. Remember, folks, life is like a giant heart-shaped balloon, it's full of ups and downs, but it's up to us to find joy and appreciate the good. Stay curious, stay positive, and I'll see you next time in the sixth dimension. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.